Greetings everyone, and welcome back to Tribes Ascend, Something from Nothing. We are doing our second episode of this for the day, because as I stated in the previous one, I had some old footage from before the current update, so I still wanted to get it out because some of the plays are kind of entertaining and there's some reasonable shots in it. So what we're doing though is uploading them at a more rapid rate, so you're getting 2 episodes of this today, and then 2 episodes in a few days whenever I decide to upload the next set, and from there we will move into the new Out of the Blue update. This particular episode is dedicated to my first few matches as the Infiltrator class. Oh, you know that guy's gonna die. Hello. Goodbye. Now, the Infiltrator class, of course, no longer exists. In fact, the submachine gun no longer exists, which is good because I hate this weapon. It's really was one of my least favorite weapons in the entire game. But even though the Infiltrator class doesn't exist, the principles behind it still do, and you can sort of make your own pseudo-Infiltrator facsimile using the class builder. Although what I will say is my first impressions, as I stated in that video. Here's me getting killed by turrets several times, by the way. What? Oh, right. What? Oh, yeah, right. So my first impressions, for me, indicated that stealth has been made a lot less useful, and I do think this is the case. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you think otherwise, but what I think is that because now the classes in general have more health, I still haven't figured out if it's more due to classes having more health or more due to... That was a good pickup right there. Or more due to weapons doing less damage. But you will have a much harder time actually killing somebody from surprise versus before. Like if you sneak up on them and get the first shot, they are much more likely to be able to respond at this point, which, you know, is good. Although personally I didn't really ever have a problem with Infiltrator. Yeah, you could sneak up behind somebody and shock lance them, but the thing is, it was very easy to neutralize the whole stealth thing. Oh, goodbye. Just by not standing still. Like, if you're moving around and cause them to miss their shock lance shot, then you have a pretty good chance of surviving anyway. So I personally, I didn't think that really needed that much of a nerf, although I suppose it wasn't an intentional nerf of just stealth. That's sort of a side effect of not being able to one-shot with weapons anymore. Thing is, even now, you should always assume that there could be a cloaked person behind you about to shock lance you. So if you're playing, for instance, a sniper or a technician, then you really don't want to be standing in front of the generator repairing it and being perfectly still. You don't really want to be sniping and standing still, because otherwise that will happen. Or that will happen. Even if you're a Doombringer, if you're just standing there in one place, that will happen. So, or that. Yeah, I got a lot of melee kills this round. Basically, the way I look at it is you should always assume somebody's going to be there. So, be constantly jumping around. Oop. Mistakes were made. If you have ever tried to do a shock lance build before, you'll know it's very difficult if somebody is standing in between all their teammates, sort of jumping around and moving to different positions. By the way, this guy just friggin' destroyed me. Wow. But, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think Infiltrator was overpowered, but apparently I'm in the minority because the updates were based upon community feedback, so I'm willing to concede to the majority in this case. Of course, the martial artist perk also doesn't exist anymore, so you're not going to be one-shotting medium classes with a melee attack anymore. This was fun. Woo! Goodbye. At least you tried. But, otherwise, I think that, check this out. Whoops. I think it might just be that I don't see anybody playing stealth anymore. Because now every class has sort of a counter to that. By the way, you'll notice a distinct decrease in video quality here. It's because I made the horrible mistake of recording this particular set of matches in 30 frames per second. I was recording something else and I had the frame rate set to 30 instead of 60. But it's okay because remember, the human eye obviously can't tell the difference between 30 and 60. Unless, of course, the eyes are actually open, then you can tell the difference. But moving on. Next episode, it will be fixed, and give your eyes a few minutes to adjust. Hopefully it'll be okay. Now there is one aspect of stealth that is still pretty useful, even with the nerfs and everything. That is the E-grab. Stealth E-grabs are still very, very strong. I found this amusing as well. Yeah. The thing is, if someone is standing on their flag stand and they don't see anybody around, they tend to get a little bit complacent and think, oh look, I'm totally safe. That's when you come up and shock lance them or chuck a sticky grenade at their face. See ya. And for me personally, E-grabs and disruption are really where Infiltrator or stealth now shines. And for instance here, they've got a pretty good D-stack going on. This guy thinks he's totally safe, but he is not. So going back to what I said in the previous episode about should you camp the generator, here's what I would say. Use your stealth, sneak into the generator, kill the technician, blow up the generator, and then run disruption. It's like, did I hear something? You did. You'd be surprised how easily you can get away much of the time. And even if doing this doesn't get you a bunch of kills, which honestly it sometimes will, you are extremely helpful. I mean, essentially, we have one person, me, disrupting the entire flag defense of 3 or 4 people. That's a pretty efficient use of manpower. You know what I found, by the way? I really don't care for this map. I'm not sure exactly why it is. This guy has the right idea, by the way. If you do get stuck by a sticky grenade, just run towards the person who stuck you, because they'll probably get killed by it. But I think the reason I don't like this map is because the flag stand is so concentrated in this small area that it just tends to devolve into these crazy melees where everybody just spams their grenades, spams their fusion mortars, and it gets a little bit crazy. But I'm sure some people enjoy it, so to each his or her own, I suppose. Didn't talk about this pistol at all. I don't care for it, and it doesn't matter because it's not in the game anymore anyway, so there you go. Some more E-grabs there. And now, I thought I was going to get blown up immediately, but because I went completely uncontested, I decided to just take the flag with me. I don't know where their team was, but got me back. And then we can hand it off to somebody who's a little bit faster. What's kind of a bummer is that on the new official servers, this map just keeps popping up, so every time I'm like, oh, great, this one again. You. See what I mean? If he had just been jumping around, I wouldn't have been able to get him. Oh, kaboom. So that is more or less what I have to say about that. I died a lot in this match, so that was fun. I do like this map, but what I found is that this is a map where people really tend to destack a lot. There I go. Lots of death. This was actually a really irritating match because for the first half, both teams were just stacking defense the entire time until we started to lose, and then I think one of the level 50s on my team decided, we're going to cap this out, so then he won the match for us, basically. So I didn't have too much fun on this one, let's put it that way. And I do in theory like this map, but it seems like every single time that I've played it, people have just stacked the defense, and it's just gone these really long stalemates. Except, of course, for the time that I bring the flag back to the stand, in which case nobody is on it, and then it gets returned. No capture assist for me. Oh well, you won anyway. So that's more or less, see ya. More or less what I have to say. Next time we will be doing 2 episodes again. I think I have Doombringer and Soldier. So there's that. And after that we'll be getting back into the new update and checking that out. I'm going to be interested to see what happens with my unlocks, because on this new account I actually have not unlocked any weapons or anything. All I've unlocked are classes and Survivalist, which doesn't exist anymore. So from what I've seen, purchases are getting refunded, so I guess I'll have all my XP back, maybe. But I'd be interested to see how much there is actually to unlock versus before, and how much that I can unlock now that I've, you know, I got all this XP and been playing for this amount of time. So, yeah, should be interesting. We're just about done here. Thanks for watching. See you soon.